What's up, writers? It's B. Welcome to a video where I'm going to teach you about how to write dialogue. If you write, you know it can be a pain. But as Daily Write's star dialoguer, self-assigned title, I know a thing or two about it, and I have a few things I think everyone who writes should know. This is pretty basic. Dialogue is talking, normally if a conversation is happening, but talking to yourself is valid too. In my opinion, dialogue can be the funnest part of a book if done well. You can portray so much through dialogue: plot, world building, emotion, character development, and even just pushing the story forward. Dialogue does everything. Heck, I'm dialoguing right now. If it's important though, how do I use it? It's really simple. Whenever you want your characters to speak, use dialogue. But just boiling it down to that would be doing it a disservice. There's so many ins and outs in dialogue and I can't cover in a short video, but here's the basics. Dialogue has to sound natural. Robotic dialogue is a waste of time and can drag a good story down.
How are you, Bob? I'm doing great, Henry. Just mowed the lawn. That's great, Bob. People don't talk like that. They don't want to, at least. That's the kind of conversation that's boring. Avoid it like the many plagues. There are very few reasons a conversation like that is necessary to a story. Here's a better type of dialogue. How's it hanging? It's hanging bad. That's how it's hanging. Yeah, I feel that. See how much more normal that is? Not only did I give you a dynamic piece of writing, but it also shows the character's emotions and demonstrated the character's personalities a lot better than the first one. That's major and can really change how readers view a story. Dialogue is a tool to build your story. Use it wisely. You can't build a house with the handle of a hammer. Don't try to write your novel with flat dialogue. If you don't know what a dialogue tag is, here's a quick, unofficial definition. You know after or before a character says something and you want to make sure that everyone knows who said it and or how they said it, that's what it is. So dialogue tags are a little controversial. Depending on how you look at it, there are three arguments. Said/says is enough. Don't mud up your story too much. You want to use as many dialogue tags as possible to get a better description. You shouldn't use dialogue tags very often. It doesn't matter. Here's my perspective. There's a middle ground here. Said/says is very useful, especially in a conversation where the emotion, tone, and volume is neutral. They do their job, and they get their point across. Different dialogue tags like huffed, whispered, and shouted, and more, are very useful to get 1. The tone of the conversation down, 2. More personality fit in there. If yelled is one that's used a lot in a character's scene, even when anger isn't the goal, it tells the readers that they want to be heard whenever they have something to say. That's personality building right there. But I also agree that there's no need for a dialogue tag after every sentence spoken, especially if the characters are in a quick back and forth. Dialogue tags slow things down, especially when the tone is implied. If they're shouting insults at each other, I don't see a reason to say he shot back after every insult. That's muddying it up. All of this to say, use your judgment. I can't be much help if I don't know the exact scenario of your book. In my opinion, a lot of this is nuanced, and my opinion changes story to story. Some need more, some need less. It's a skill you slowly pick up as you grow as a writer. Don't expect your first projects to age like fine wine. That's a skill you grow and build like any other creative medium. Also, I realized in the first video that I wrote, if you do characterization right, you won't need dialogue tags for your character speech. That doesn't mean you should do that. It's the principle of it. Sure, my characters have distinct personalities, but I still need to make sure that readers who haven't picked up on it yet are able to follow. Lots of gray areas here. I already covered dialogue tags, but a lot of different things are argued about. One being grammar in your dialogue. Some of them grammar nerds want dialogue to be grammatically correct. Mostly Google autocorrect, but it doesn't have to be. Normally people don't speak with grammar in mind. That's why you get so mad at teachers when they reply back, I don't know. Can you? I don't normally talk like this. It's scripted. I wrote it down. In my actual daily life, I talk very differently. Mostly because when I'm talking to my friends, I'm not trying to educate them about writing techniques. It doesn't come up a lot. Grammar in your dialogue is unnecessary, though encouraged. And using dialogue can be a good way to show your character. Have a smart character, or someone disconnected from internet culture, then yeah, maybe have them talk with a huge focus on grammar and probably use bigger words. Another controversial topic is the idea of writing accents. If your character has, say, a French accent, you might have the urge to write z instead of the. But I'll tell you this, please don't. Well, maybe an easy way to make sure your reader remembers the character's accent throughout the story. It's annoying. Just remind them with a quick, they said it in their usual French accent. Every once in a while. You might think that's cheesy, but you wanna know what's cheesier? Writing out an accent. Not to mention, it's mildly offensive and enforcing stereotypes. Ew. The final thing I want to cover is dialogue tags like she smiled and others like it. I've heard people say that you can't smile a sentence, which I partially agree with, but also I feel like you can smile a sentence. Like in our first video, I was editing Toffee's audio and there were moments where I could hear her smile. my script writing was funny. Other times I can hear my friends in their voice recordings when they think that their joke is really funny. Sure, I have no proof that they're smiling, but you can kind of tell. Not only that, but there's also the idea of a piece of dialogue that doesn't need a tag, but it needs an action. What then? You could add a "she said" with a smile, but that seems repetitive if she does it a lot. I don't know, do whatever you want. Writing doesn't work if you listen to whatever opinion is told to you. Make your own choice. If you disagree, you don't have time to argue. That's a waste of your time. You're kind of trying to write a book. Obviously, a lot more is debated in the writing community, but then again, I'm trying to keep this video reasonable. Anyway, y'all, that's all I wanted to cover for today.
Whoa. Dialogue Master? You missed so much.
Ronnie, I know that, but dialogue is complex, and I have school. I'm trying to give you the basics.
I'm just trying to give them the basics. You are failing a generation of writers.
Well, okay then, Ronnie. If you think you can do so much better, what did I miss? You get 2 paragraphs.
Okay, use real-life combos as a base. If you go outside, you'll notice people talk. We're trying to replicate that, so analyze it.
You have a point.
And B did talk about grammar, thank God. But she forgot about the fillers, the ums and the uhs, the stutters. These are huge to showing off your character's personality and backstory. The ums and uhs are extremely important and easy to mess up. There's a balance. Don't do it every line, but also don't be afraid to use it. Especially to showcase nervousness, a person lost in their thoughts or their lack of knowledge on the subject, and stutter. Let me boil it down because I'm stealing the spotlight, apparently. 2 examples. Second one, overall better. First one is too choppy even for a stutter. Thank you and good night.
Thank you for that.
Anytime.